The crisis in Syria seems to deepen by the day. The U.S. and Germany are protesting Russia's weapons dealings with Syrian dictator Bashar al-Assad. And the death of an American woman living in Syria has put the spotlight on her Michigan family. Charlie D'Agata in London has more. Good morning, Charlie.
Good morning to you, Anthony. Nicole Mansfield is the only American known to be killed while fighting in Syria. Security forces in Damascus won't say which rebel group she was with, but they did say she was killed while staking out a Syrian army position. Syrian state television showed this bullet-ridden car Mansfield was in, gunned down with two others, including a British man identified this morning as 22-year-old Ali al-Manasfi from London. The TV report also showed what appeared to be Mansfield's Michigan driver's license and passport. Back home in Flint, Michigan, her aunt Monica said she was stunned to hear the news of her niece's death.
It's heartbreaking that she goes over to she thought she could go over and help them, but then she ends up dead.
Her grandmother Carol said she wasn't shocked to learn that her granddaughter had become caught up in fighting in Syria.
She was misguided. And from what you hear and read today, there's a lot of that going on. And she got caught up in it.
Mansfield is one of 70,000 people to die in a conflict that has not only worsened, it has become more complicated. The U.S. and Germany have called on Russia to stop arming the regime of Syrian President Bashar al-Assad. Secretary of State John Kerry said the delivery of missiles would have a profoundly negative impact on the region. But Russian officials have insisted they will provide anti-aircraft systems to Syria. And earlier this week, Assad himself hinted he'd received the first shipment. And news just in this morning, Lebanese security officials said that 16 rockets fired from Syria struck Lebanon today in an area that's a stronghold of Hezbollah fighters who've recently increased their role fighting alongside Syrian government forces. Anthony?
Charlie D'Agata in London. Thanks, Charlie. Tomorrow on Face the Nation, Bob Schieffer will look at the deteriorating situation in Syria. His guests will be Senators John McCain and Jack Reed, also New York Times executive editor Jill Abramson, and Bob Woodward of The Washington Post.